Crash. The sound still echoes in my head, the sound of my dreams shattering across the floor. I remember standing there, barefoot on the marble tiles, watching my father swing the hammer again and again until my ceramic piggy bank, the one I'd been saving in since I was 11, exploded into a shower of coins and cash. He didn't look angry. He looked satisfied. "Your sister needs it more," he said coldly, scooping up the bills I'd earned from years of part-time work, tutoring and birthday gifts. Family helps family. My sister stood behind him, pretending to cry. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't even breathe. That night I made myself a promise. If they thought they could take everything from me, they were about to learn how dangerous silence can be. I used to count money like it was hope. Every crinkled bill, every silver coin carried a promise. College, independence, a life beyond my father's shadow. I'd been saving since I was 11. Babysitting, tutoring, selling sketches online. When I totaled it last month, it was exactly $23,478. My freedom, trapped inside a pink ceramic pig with a chipped ear. But one Tuesday evening everything changed. Dad came home angry. Not shouting, worse. Quiet. That cold kind of quiet that means something terrible is about to happen. "Bella's in trouble," he said finally. "She maxed out her credit cards. 20 grand. Froze. Bella always lived like life owed her. Designer shoes, endless vacations, photo shoots she couldn't afford. I tried to sound calm. "Dad, she has to fix that herself. You told me." He cut me off. "Family helps family, Haley." Before I could ask what he meant, he grabbed the hammer from the tool drawer. I watched, frozen, as he walked to my shelf, to the piggy bank Mom gave me before she died. "Dad, don't." He didn't even look at me. One swing. Crash. The sound was deafening. Coins rolled under the sofa. Bills fluttered like wounded birds. Bella gasped theatrically behind him. "Dad, stop. She'll hate me." But she didn't move to stop him. When the hammer finally fell silent, so did I. He crouched down, gathering the bills with his calloused hands. "You'll thank me one day," he said. "Money isn't meant to sit in a toy." Tears blurred my vision. That was my college fund. My money. He stood up, face hard. "Your sister needs it more." End of discussion. Something inside me cracked that night. Not just the bank, but the belief that love and fairness lived under the same roof. He walked out carrying everything I'd worked for, and Bella trailed behind, pretending to cry into his shoulder. I stood there surrounded by broken porcelain and the smell of metal coins. My legs gave out. I sank to the floor, picking up what was left, scraps of paper, a few bills he'd missed, and an envelope wedged beneath the shelf. It wasn't mine. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a bank receipt dated a month ago. The account name, Haley Reed, joint with Thomas Reed. My father's name. My chest went cold. I'd never opened a joint account. I barely even knew what that meant. Was he moving my money long before tonight? The thought made me dizzy. Maybe this wasn't about Bella's debt. Maybe this was something he'd planned. I swept the last of the coins into a box, heart pounding. The house was silent now, but I could still hear the hammer's echo. And right then I made myself a quiet promise. If he thought I was powerless because I stayed silent, he was about to find out what silence can do. The next morning I woke up with a single thought pounding in my head. The receipt. If it was real, it meant my dad had been touching my money long before the hammer ever fell. I walked to the bank, my pulse sinking with every step. The clerk smiled politely as I handed her the slip. "Can you check this account number, please?" Her fingers flew across the keyboard. Then she frowned. "Are you Haley Reed?" "Yes." She hesitated, lowering her voice. "This is a joint account. You're listed as secondary. Primary holder, Thomas Reed." I swallowed hard. "My father." She nodded. "He opened it 5 years ago. Regular deposits, mostly cash. All withdrawals are authorized by both parties, or by him, since you were marked minor at the time." My hands trembled. 5 years. That meant every birthday check, every tutoring payment I'd ever deposited, had probably gone straight into his hands. "Can I get a printout of the last 12 months?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The clerk hesitated. "I'll need ID." I handed her my driver's license, my stomach tight with dread. When the printer spat out the pages, I felt the air drain from the room. Transfers, luxury expenses, designer brands, hotel bookings in my sister's name. One line burned into my vision. Withdrawal, $9,800. Bella Reed, business travel. Business travel. Bella didn't even have a business. I walked out of that bank with the papers in hand, my nails digging into the edges. By the time I reached home, I wasn't sad anymore. I was furious. "Dad!" called. He was in the backyard, trimming roses like nothing had happened. Bella lounged on a chair nearby, scrolling through her phone. "Why is there a joint account with my name on it?" "Yes." He looked up calm. "It's just bookkeeping. You're too young to manage real accounts." "I've been helping." "Helping?" Snap. "You've been stealing." His eyes hardened. "Don't talk to me like that." Bella smirked. "Haley, calm down. You're overreacting." "Overreacting?" I threw the printout at them. "You spent my money on your vacations." Dad didn't even flinch. "Your family. That money isn't just yours. It belongs to all of us." That sentence hit me like a slap. It wasn't about need or fairness. It was entitlement. That night I told Dylan everything. He was the only one who ever treated my obsession with saving like something noble, not naive. When he saw the statements, his jaw tightened. "Haley, this is identity misuse. Maybe even fraud. You could file a report." "No," I said, staring at the papers. "Not yet. They just twist it and call me ungrateful. I need proof. Real proof." He nodded. "Then we start with digital traces. I'll help you track it." As the screen glowed between us, I felt a fire replace the ache in my chest. My father had stolen my money. Now I'd steal back his peace. We spent nights digging. Dylan's laptop became the portal to every truth they thought was buried. He taught me how to trace wire transfers and match spending habits. "Follow the money," he said, "and you'll find the liar." Within hours, we uncovered a separate account under Bella's name, one fed by transfers from my joint account. The expenses were absurd. Flights to Miami, PR agency fees, photographer payments, all labeled influencer development. "She's using your money to fund her fake social media career," Dylan muttered. "This isn't just misuse, it's calculated." Scrolling further, one transaction caught my eye. $15,000. Lumino agency contract. I looked up. "She's signing sponsorship deals with my savings." Dylan exhaled. "She's probably listing herself as an entrepreneur, funded by family investors." My stomach turned. The betrayal felt heavier than the theft. But I wasn't crying anymore. I was planning. I started documenting everything. Screenshots, statements, receipts. Each file named carefully. Evidence under evidence under evidence under 12. At night, I played the role of the obedient daughter, texting Bella compliments on her new campaign, while secretly noting every time she bragged about a brand trip. One evening, while scrolling her stories, I froze. In the background of her Miami vlog, a glimpse of a hotel room. On the nightstand was a folder with the company name Reed Holdings, my father's private firm. I zoomed in, pulse racing. "Dylan, she's not alone on these trips." He leaned closer. "You think your dad's funding this whole scam to build her fake image?" "I think he's laundering money through her brand." The realization hit like a punch. He wasn't just stealing from me, he was using me as cover. That night, I crept downstairs for water and heard voices from the study. My father's tone was low, controlled. "She doesn't suspect yet. Once her trust fund clears, we'll cover the losses." I stopped breathing. Trust fund. I didn't have a trust fund. Or at least, I thought I didn't. The next day I called my aunt, Mom's sister, the only person who'd never taken my dad's side. "Aunt Grace," I said carefully, "did Mom ever set up a college fund for me?" There was silence on the line. Then a sigh. "Yes, honey. Your mother was so proud of you. She wanted to make sure you had choices." My chest tightened. "Do you know where it is?" "It was handled by her lawyer, Mrs. Avery. You should have had access at 21. "I'm 22, I whispered. That confirmed it. My father had hidden it. I met Mrs. Avery that week in her sunlit office. She looked surprised when I explained. "Thomas Reed claimed you authorized him to manage the trust temporarily, due to emotional instability." I laughed bitterly. "Instability? Because I cried when my mother died." Her eyes softened. "He provided signed forms. Can I see them?" She handed me the file. My hands shook as I flipped through the pages, and there it was. My signature. Except it wasn't mine. "He forged this," I said quietly. "That's not my handwriting." Mrs. Avery nodded. "Then we have grounds to act. But Haley, this will get messy." I looked up. "It's already messy." Together we drafted new paperwork to transfer the trust back under my sole control. Legally, discreetly. That evening, I returned home to find Dad pacing the living room, phone in hand. "I know you've been snooping," he snapped. "You're making a fool of yourself." I met his glare evenly. "You stole from me." "From Mom." He laughed. "Everything in this house exists because of me. You wouldn't survive a week without my money." "Funny," I said softly. "You won't survive long with mine." For the first time he looked unsure. That night I packed a small bag and left home for good. As I walked out, Bella's voice followed me. "Don't do this, Haley. Dad will ruin you." Turn. He already did. Mrs. Avery worked quickly. Within days, the trust was safely transferred under my name. "Now he can't touch it," she said, signing the last document. "But don't tell him yet. Let him think he still can." He nodded. "Let's see what he does when he tries." Back at Dylan's apartment, my new temporary home, I set up a fake investment portfolio. A digital honey trap, complete with screenshots, dummy balances, and test deposits. If Dad tried to access anything under my identity again, we'd catch him in real time. It didn't take long. 3 nights later my phone buzzed. "Unauthorized login detected, account, H.Reed. I smiled coldly. "Got you." Dylan grinned. He fell for it. Within hours we had digital proof linking him to multiple identity attempts, all time-stamped and traced to his IP address. But there was more. While tracking the login we found another loan application, under my name. $40,000. "He's trying to borrow against your trust before he realizes he lost access," Dylan said. I clenched my fists. "Then I'll give him a reason to panic." The next morning I called home. "Dad," I said calmly, "I know about the loan." Long pause. Then laughter. "You can't prove anything." "Oh, I can," I replied. "And when the bank calls about your signature, I'll make sure they hear mine instead." The line went dead. That silence told me everything. He was scared. 2 weeks later I went home for dinner. Smiling, polite, pretending. "Dad," I said sweetly, "maybe I overreacted. Family's family, right?" He relaxed instantly. "Good girl. You're learning." Bella beamed, twirling her new diamond bracelet. "You'll feel better once we're all together again." I nodded, forcing a laugh. "Actually, I've been thinking maybe I could invest some money. Something we could do as a family." His eyes lit up like a shark smelling blood. "Really? Really?" I said. "I just need your advice on where to start." That night, I let him open my fake investment portal. Every click he made, every transaction he approved, recorded. By morning, Dylan and Mrs. Avery had the full chain of evidence ready for the authorities. When the investigators arrived 2 days later, Dad was caught mid-transfer. Bella screamed. He froze. They confiscated his laptop, accounts, everything. And as he was escorted out, he looked at me. Not angry, just defeated. "You planned this," he muttered. I met his eyes. "You taught me how to." The night they took my father away, the silence in the house felt unreal. No shouting, no footsteps, no sharp words echoing down the hallway. Just a heavy emptiness that even the ticking clock refused to break. Bella sat on the stairs, mascara streaking her face, clutching her phone like it was the last piece of her old life. "You called the police," she said finally. Her voice trembled, but her eyes burned. "You actually called them on your own father." I stood in the doorway, cold air swirling around my ankles. "No, Bella. He called them when he decided my money belonged to you." She laughed bitterly. "You think you're a hero. You destroyed us. Everything Dad worked for, gone. Everything Mom worked for," I corrected. "Dad just spent it pretending it was his." Her lip quivered. "You've always been jealous. He loved me more and you couldn't stand it." That line hit harder than I expected. 'Cause maybe once upon a time that was true. I took a step closer. "You really think love means getting away with everything?" "He didn't love you, Bella. He used you. Just like he used me." She looked confused. "Used me? He protected me. Then why was he taking out loans in my name? Why did he let you sign fake contracts? You think he cared about your future?" "He was drowning and he dragged both of us down to stay afloat." She stared at me, shaking her head. "You don't understand." Soften. "Then make me understand." For a long moment she didn't speak. Then she whispered. "He told me Mom left him nothing. That you got all her money. That he just wanted to even it out." Froze. "That's what he said." She nodded, eyes glistening. "He said if I helped him, he'd make sure we both ended up with something. He promised." I sank onto the step beside her. "He lied, Bella. Mom's trust was for both of us. He forged the documents to make it look like it was mine alone, so he could take control." Her tears fell freely now. He said Mom was selfish. Mom died believing we'd look out for each other," I said quietly. "Instead, we became pawns in his game." The front door suddenly opened. Mrs. Avery stepped in, her voice firm but kind. "Haley, it's time." Bella looked up, startled. "Time for what?" I stood, clutching the folder in my hand. "The hearing. Dad's facing charges for fraud and identity theft. I'm testifying." Bella's face drained of color. "You're sending him to prison." I hesitated. "I'm telling the truth." She stood abruptly. "Then you're no better than him." Her words cut deep. I didn't reply. Mrs. Avery touched my shoulder. "Let's go." As we drove to the courthouse, I watched the city blur past. The same city that once felt too big for me. Now it felt smaller. Understandable. Power wasn't in fear anymore. It was in truth. At the courthouse, reporters swarmed the steps. Flashbulbs flared, voices shouted my name. But all I saw was my reflection in the glass door. Calm, steady, unbroken. Inside, my father sat at the defense table, gray and tired. He looked up and met my eyes for a long, heavy second. No anger. No denial. A shame. The judge entered. Everyone rose. And for the first time since that hammer struck the piggy bank, I wasn't scared. Courtrooms have their own kind of silence. The heavy, waiting kind that presses against your skin. When I took the stand, the air felt electric. I could hear every rustle, every pen scratch, every shallow breath from the gallery. The prosecutor asked softly, "Haley, when did you first realize your father was using your identity?" I steadied my voice. "The night he broke my piggy bank." A ripple of murmurs filled the room. I explained everything. The forged signatures, the fake loans, the hidden trust. I could feel my father's gaze burning holes through me. But I didn't flinch. Then came the defense attorney's turn. "Miss Reed," he said smoothly, "you claim your father stole from you out of greed. Could it not have been love? A desperate attempt to support your sister?" I met his gaze. Love doesn't take, it protects. The room went still. When the cross-examination ended, the judge called a short recess. I sat on the bench outside, heart pounding. Mrs. Avery placed a reassuring hand on mine. "You did well," she said. "But brace yourself. The defense may call Bella next." I frowned. Bella. She's not part of the case. She is now. Minutes later my sister walked in. Eyes red, hands trembling. She wouldn't meet my gaze as she took the stand. The defense lawyer smiled. "Miss Reed, would you like to tell the court your version of events?" Bella nodded slowly. "Dad asked me to help him," she began. "He said Mom's money wasn't safe with Haley. He told me I'd get my share later. I believed him. Did Haley know about this arrangement?" "No. She was just collateral." My stomach twisted. Bella's voice cracked. "But I didn't know about the forged signatures. Or the loans. I just thought Dad was fixing things like always." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I thought we were helping family. But we were just helping him lie." The courtroom was silent except for her sobbing. The prosecutor approached gently. "Miss Reed, are you saying your father deceived you too?" She nodded. "Yes. He said if Haley found out, he'd cut me off forever." I felt my anger drain away, replaced by something colder. Grief. When the session ended, Bella looked at me for the first time in weeks. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "You were right about him. About everything." I nodded slowly. "It's not about being right anymore. It's about being free." That night, the judge announced the verdict. My father was found guilty on multiple counts: identity theft, fraud, and misappropriation of assets. His company was dissolved. He turned to me as they led him away. "Haley," he said hoarsely, "you destroyed your own blood." I met his eyes one last time. "No, Dad. You did." Outside, rain poured like a cleansing storm. Bella walked beside me, silent, until she said quietly, "What happens now?" I smiled faintly. "Now we build something honest. Something Mom would have been proud of." She nodded through tears. The past had shattered, but maybe, just maybe, the pieces could form something new. The trial ended, but the silence afterward was louder than any gavel. For weeks, I woke up expecting another fight, another betrayal, another reason to defend myself. But there was only quiet, the kind that comes after a storm. Dad was sentenced to 4 years. His lawyer tried to negotiate community service, but the forged documents sealed his fate. When I saw his final signature on the court file, that same looped handwriting he'd used to fake mine, I felt closure, not victory. Bella moved out of our childhood home soon after. She stopped posting her perfect influencer life and started waitressing at a local cafe. One evening I walked in by accident and saw her. She froze, then smiled weakly. "Table for one." "Yeah," I said softly. As she brought over my drink, she whispered, "You really did it. You stood up to him." I looked at her trembling hands. "We both did, eventually." She nodded, eyes glistening. "He ruined everything, didn't he?" I took a deep breath. "No. He ruined his chance to be better." We sat in silence for a moment, the clinking of cups around us filling the space where our anger used to live. Before leaving, she said, "Mom would have been proud of you." It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a start. That night I returned to my apartment. Small, quiet, mine. On the desk sat the last piece of the past, the broken remains of my old piggy bank. I'd kept them, not as a wound but as a reminder. The ceramic shards glittered faintly under my lamp. I picked one up, tracing its jagged edge. Back then I thought money was freedom. But I was wrong. Freedom isn't what you own. It's what you refuse to let them take again. A soft knock came at the door. "Dylan." He smiled, holding up 2 coffees. "I figured you'd be awake." I laughed. "You know me too well." He sat beside me, studying the broken pieces on the table. "You gonna glue it back together?" I shook my head. "No. Some things are better left in pieces. He smiled. So what now, Haley? I looked at my laptop screen, a half-finished website blinking back at me. Ceramic Pig, financial freedom for young women. I think it's time I teach others how not to get broken, I said. 6 months later, I stood in front of a small group of students at a community center, my hands shaking, not from fear but from purpose. On the projector behind me glowed my new initiative, Ceramic Pig, an online mentorship program teaching young women how to protect their savings, spot manipulation, and build independence. Money isn't just currency, I said. It's power. And power doesn't belong to whoever shouts the loudest. It belongs to the one who learns quietly, watches closely, and acts smartly. The room clapped, soft but genuine. Afterward, one girl approached me. Miss Haley, she said, did someone ever steal your money? I smiled faintly. Yes, but I took back more than I lost. That night, I visited the old family house for the last time. The garden was overgrown, the windows dark. I placed the final shard of my piggy bank on the porch and whispered, I forgive you, Mom. I did what you couldn't, I walked away. As I turned to leave, headlights appeared, Bella's car. She got out, holding something wrapped in cloth. I think this belongs to you, she said softly. Inside was a small stack of bills, the few coins she'd secretly saved from the night Dad smashed the bank. I took these before he could, she murmured. I wanted to give them back one day. For the first time in years, I hugged her. Let's start over, I said. The next morning, I made a quiet donation under the alias, Ceramic Pig. Amount: $23,478. Recipient: Scholarship Fund for Girls Denied Financial Access by Family Guardians. That was my revenge. Not to destroy them, but to build something from the wreckage they left behind. As the sun rose, I closed my laptop and whispered. He taught me money could buy silence, but I learned silence can buy justice.